Welcome, everybody. We do, of course, have lots of more Epstein information to get into, and I'm just kerflummoxed. I've never just looked up the word and I just make it up every time differently, but by the MAGA reaction to the latest trove of Epstein emails. But to start with something a little bit different, we're gonna do this, okay? Do you remember this guy, Logan Paul? He's an influencer, kind of YouTube original, I would say. One of the first really prominent YouTubers that I was aware of. And you can put this back up, Jay. During the campaign season, the B-roll you were seeing there was of him buddy with Trump. And there was this crew of bro influencers who had never really been that involved in politics, but were wooed by Trump, and without doing a ton of research, just threw their MAGA hat in the ring for Trump and did interviews with him. So I'll give you the background on Logan Paul, then we're going to talk about him questioning the moon landing and Neil deGrasse Tyson having to shut that down. But interviews that were very friendly like this.
For you guys.
Oh, no way. Yeah. We got gifts.
Oh, no. They sell for a lot of money, this thing.
Oh, no way. Thank you, President.
They don't go for a lot of money. They're made in China. They're pretty cheap.
China!
Oh, amazing.
This is
Is this your mugshot?
yeah, can you mug
No way. You're a gangster.
This is what we're reduced to.
No way. No way.
Should we put it on now?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That's amazing.
And it sells. Well, Elvis had one. Frank Sinatra had one.
This shirt?
But we've eclipsed them.
I remember when we originally covered this, I was very disturbed by the, no way, you're a gangster. I almost went into a Robert F. Kennedy Jr. there. You're a gangster, Trump. You're a gangster. It's like Bobby's younger self. But it was very confusing and disorienting because we were so immersed in the threats that Trump was posing and how bad his economic agenda was. And a lot of people weren't really engaging on that level of that depth, but were just kind of like, this guy's cool. And then influencing large amounts of people to vote for him. I would love to check back in on how they think all this is going. But meanwhile, Neil deGrasse Tyson is on Logan Paul's podcast and is saying, Logan Paul is saying, do you really think the moon landing is real? To which Tyson says, I don't think it. I know it. And this is something we just saw Kim Kardashian too. I don't know what's going through with these celebrities saying the moon landing. Pfft. While you watch this clip, please do, if you appreciate this show, click the subscribe button. Jaden has a really interesting graphic. Look at that. The percentage of subscribed viewers versus people who regularly watch. 12 million people in the last 28 days, or at least 12 million views from people who are not subscribed. So do click that subscribe button. Here, the conversation is.
Part of the evidence that
What about the physical evidence that was brought
Physical
back?
evidence, we have rocks from the moon.
That's what I'm asking.
Shared with the world.
Please watch this video.
I remember that. Old enough to remember it.
Is that how gravity functions on the moon? Like, doesn't he not look ridiculous hopping around on the moon?
He does look ridiculous, but how much you weigh here? You 220?
215.
215?
Yeah.
So on the moon, you would weigh 35 pounds. So you have your musculoskeletal strength to accommodate Earth weight.
Yep.
Even if I put on 100 pounds of suit, okay, on the moon, that's adding 16 pounds to your body. So now there you are. Now those suits are not, like modern flexi suits.
Yep.
That's like first gen moon suits. But with your current musculoskeletal structure, you're now skipping around with 40 pounds of total weight. So your slightest muscle movements, you'll just float.
Don't you think that video looks a little silly though? Like
that doesn't mean it's not true.
Yeah, but is that really how you would?
He's on the moon. The moon. If by silly you mean not how we jump around here on Earth, yes, exactly. How do you imagine it? The funny thing is, like, how would you know what looks silly? How would I know? That video is pretty wacky. Podcast listeners, it was of the astronaut jumping and gliding through the air a little bit. And it's so funny to be so confident about things. Like, something's off about that video when you couldn't possibly comprehend. It's the moon. We haven't been there. Well, we have. We haven't. You and I haven't. So how would we know what looks normal? They're in these big suits.
bounce around on the moon?
Yes, on those kind of outfits. I mean, they're not doing jumping jacks. They
Yeah.
can't because they don't have that
Yeah.
flexibility. But if you don't have much flexibility, that's when you go up slowly and down.
So
slowly.
you think we went to the moon?
I know we went to them. What do you mean? I think they brought back rocks. Okay, rocks shared with laboratories around the world. That's
enough.
what you do as scientists.
That's evidence for you. That's the concrete evidence you need to believe in something.
Plus, the Saturn V rocket launched. You can calculate how much fuel is in it. And what that could do to the little capsule where the 3 astronauts were. It's enough fuel to go into Earth orbit, go to the moon, go into moon orbit, come back to Earth, and land. Where do you think those rockets were going? To the Piggly Wiggly down the street? What, like, so
It's a good point.
Thousands of people who would have to keep this a secret. So just ask yourself. No, here, I'll answer it the cleanest way I can. You ready? NASA was concerned that Russia would beat us to the moon.
Yep.
So they and the government got together, say, we're going to have to fake this. So they say, but we don't know how to do that. Let's go to Hollywood. So they called Hollywood, and Hollywood said, we got to fake the moon landing, but don't tell anyone. Okay. So Hollywood studies the problem and comes back and says, turns out we can fake the moon landing, but it's way easier if we do it on location.
That was good from Neil. That was good. And yeah, I have a similar thought here, and I'll show you Kim Kardashian, as I do when we talk about the UFOs, UAPs, and there are certain people who are just out there in the world living their life, barely making ends meet. That doesn't apply to Logan Paul and some of these celebrities, but a lot of just random people out in the world get really fixated and experience some angst over flat Earth, or the government needs to reveal that there's aliens, or moon landing. And those are different. The UFO thing, there actually is reason to want to know what they know in relation to the things that have been documented. But similar category of these concerns people have, and fixations even, to which I respond, and I'll go back to what I said during our alien segment. The gas company keeps calling and your bill's overdue. Like, there's some concerns that I think should be a little bit more pressing to us specifically. You had a night out, you were drinking, I get it. But then I know you remember this, you remember? You thought you would take a little pee on a tree. Cop was there. It was next to a school. Now you're a registered sex offender. Can't go within 100 feet of a school. There's some other problems that I think you specifically should put your focus on. You never turned in that library book. You're at like $1,000 of library dues. Let's do that, then see if you can be the person to expose the flat Earth. I've met some of these people at rallies, and they have some real struggles. Their kid won't talk to them. They cheated on their wife. And they're putting a lot of their life, instead of fixing that, into proving the moon landing was fake. Something always confuses me about that. Make your bed, right? That whole message. Get your own house in order, then see if the entire house of the world is a conspiracy. That's my message. And if you look into what did we just recently talk about, the chemtrails that Tucker Carlson was perpetuating the conspiracy about? The plane, the condensation in the sky that trails a plane, actually that's spraying chemicals on us. And you think about how many different engineers and staff members and airline employees and mechanics would have to all be in on doing that. Similarly here, the amount of people at NASA, thousands contributed to the technology that ultimately got us to the moon. All of this process would have had to be such a large conspiracy. And then I ask, with both flat Earth and with the moon landing, what is even the point of the cover-up you believe in? That's what confuses me. So they did all of that for flat Earth? For what? What is the great... Because if they ever get exposed for every different country, every single, even our biggest adversaries agreeing on the Earth, on the makeup of the Earth, all of them are in on a conspiracy together to lie and say that it's not flat. And if that ever got exposed, no one would ever trust anything ever again. For what? For why? What is I can't even think of what do they say? To trick us. Okay, for what? So that we won't go explore the edge of the Earth. I don't know. I don't know what it means. You remember that Republican who was like, and then I started noticing globes everywhere. If it weren't a cover-up, why do they put globes everywhere? Oh, I look at a store, they have a globe. Oh, I see a map, it's a globe. Everything's a globe. They must be hiding something. At least give me a conclusion to your theory. Now, with Logan Paul, I don't know if this is the moon landing questions, if it's another thing like this. He previously went viral for pretending like he believed in the flat earth conspiracies to make a video, but he didn't really.
My name is Logan Paul, and I think I'm coming out of the flat earth closet.
Yes, you heard that right. Controversial YouTube star Logan Paul laying it down in the trailer for his film about the flat earth movement.
Do you think the earth is flat?
The earth is flat. Believe the earth is flat. The earth is flat.
Internet headlines declaring YouTube's baddest bad boy had finally lost it. But it was all a prank.
Well, now that it's all over, do you think the earth...
These news voiceovers are always iconic. YouTube's baddest bad boy has finally lost it.
is flat?
No, I don't think the earth is flat. I think that's the dumbest shit I've heard in my life.
It turns out Paul's YouTube movie, Flat Earth to the Edge and Back, is a mockumentary, a flipped satire following Paul and his team to a Flat Earth conference.
I always, the birds aren't real guy did a similar thing where he built a whole following saying birds aren't real and they're government drones. And then Logan Paul does this. And I've definitely mocked conspiracy theorists and flat earthers and stuff. But somewhere in my heart, I feel a little bad for them. Like all these people at the conference, Logan Paul's with us, hugging him. Thank you for telling the truth. Yes. And then they see him going, obviously that's not true. I was making fun of them. Oh, sweetie, I'm so sorry. He lied to you. I might mock you, but at least I'm honest about what I believe. Kim Kardashian, right? I never know which Kardashian, Jenner, who are they? Who are all these people who are just there all the time? It's crazy how many people spend their whole life trying to build a career and really establish themselves as something. And then there's some figures that almost none of us even know what they do, but are the most rich and famous. You're like, I don't even know which one of you are, but all of you are famous because your life's dramatic. I don't know. But Kim Kardashian had this go viral.
I'm sending you, so far, 1 million interviews with both Buzz Aldrin and the other one.
Do it. Yeah.
This girl says, what was the scariest moment? And he goes, there was no scary moment because it didn't happen. It could have been scary, but it wasn't because it didn't happen. So he's gotten old and now he slurs on his thing. Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. So I think it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go on a massive deep dive is what's going to happen. Okay. I'm going to go on a serious deep dive.
I sent her conspiracies all the time.
YouTube's biggest bad boy. Moving on to our next story. After decades of government cover-up, investigators of all different sorts trying to confirm that the moon landing was fake, we now have exclusive breaking news into ABC News that Kim Kardashian has blown the lid off of this conspiracy and revealed that indeed the moon landing was fake. No one thought it would be her, but Kim Kardashian revealed the bombshell. Now, of course, it always feels weird. They did fact checks. I think this was People had to do a fact check. The flag wasn't blowing, which is one of the why was the flag out like that? The wind couldn't have been blowing it like that or something. It was held up by an angled rod, and the shoes that Aldrin Armstrong wore on the moon were left behind, not kept in a museum back on Earth. As for why the stars weren't visible, that's because of the shutter speed used by the cameras to compensate for the amount of light being reflected from the sun. A problem professional and amateur photographers still face today when shooting up at the cloudless sky. There's a large body of physical evidence as well, including moon rocks, subsequent photos of the landing sites, and the existence of a retro reflector that can bounce back beams from Earth. So if you were skeptical, there's some of addressing some of her concerns. Maybe that will push her over the edge. I don't know.